Good morning, Set to Love family. I am Eva Payne, and I have the most excellent guest for you today, Pragya Pathak. She is a yogic consultant, and wow, we are going to go deep into finding your purpose, meditation, and yoga, and why it's so important to feeling connected to the oneness that is all of us. So here we go.
My name is Eva Payne. Welcome to The Flow Life, where we define love as live open, value everything. On this podcast, you are dialed in and set to love. Let's go for a ride.
Good morning, Pragya. How are you?
Good morning. I am good. How are you?
I'm doing so great. Thank you so much for coming on to Set to Love and for sharing your wisdom. We were talking a little bit before, and I cannot wait for our audience to learn from you. And you have really big goals. Before we got on, you said your goal is to help 1 million people. So I hope today that this message can spread to at least a handful and help bring down that number for you. But before we start, why don't people just introduce yourself so we can get to know you a little bit and where you're from. I know you're in India right now, so it's 9:30 at night there, where it's 8:30 here in California. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. First of all, I'm really thankful that you invited here, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. And namaste from India to each one of you. And namaste means, honoring the divinity in the person next to us. So, and you know what? From the beginning itself, kind of few years back, I was kind of lost, purposeless. I was not knowing what is that thing which I want to do with my life. But the practice of yoga and meditation, it really helped me in knowing my purpose, in bringing in that confidence. There was some voice inside me. There was something inside me from the childhood itself that I want to do something big with my life. But I was being lost. Laziness and all those things were there. I was like, what is that thing which is stopping me all the time? But again, when I dived deep into the meditation in this breathing things, it helped me big time. And from there, I realized that I have to help not 1 million, but 1 billion people. But people think it's big and all those. I don't care. Just I believe that if I'm alive, I will do it. But if I will not do it. It's not. I'm no more here. So that I'm completely sure about it. And this vision is coming through, the gurus which I learned from, and that's the purpose of my life, to help more than 1 billion people in finding their purpose with the help of the knowledge of yoga and meditation. And I'm continuing in this journey, helping people with meditation and finding that fulfillment every single day, because life is very uncertain. So
it very much is. We were talking a little bit before we went live about finding your purpose. And that's a topic that we've covered on the show several different times, different ways. But you have such an interesting approach to that concept of finding your purpose, where it comes from and how to do it. Do you want to share some of that with us today?
100%. So the concept of purpose, it's when we talk about the purpose of life, when we talk about the individual unique purpose. So there is a concept in our Bhagavad Gita. It is a classic yogic scripture. It's called Swadharma. It is a Sanskrit word where Swa means self, Dharma is duty. So what is that individual duty that we have here on this earth? And there in Bhagavad Gita, it has been also been shared that when you follow your Swadharma, then you reach to that state of fulfillment or even any form of abundance, whether of this world or beyond this world, if you believe so. So that was the clear message from the Bhagavad Gita. And when I read all those things about the Swadharma and all those things, then I realized about the divine calling as well, that we all have certain form of divine calling. And when we connect with that divine calling, we come out of that individual entity, like I'm Pragya Pathak and have to help 1 billion people. Man, that's very scary. I cannot do that. When I think that I am doing But when we realize that there's a power with me, there's some form of energy which is guiding me, which is helping me, which is there with me, and I'm the instrument of divine, it's not me who is doing, then there is no fear, then there is no limit to our consciousness. And that can only come when we'll come at the basic level, that figuring out the things, that what is that activity, what is that thing that comes naturally to me, what is that gives me that fulfillment element every single day. And from the conscious questioning, the power of meditation and breathing, the way I encountered it, our breath is the connection between our body and the mind, isn't it?
Mhm.
If the breath is not there, we are not alive even. And how many times we have given that attention to our breath? We are too much focused on our, how we are looking and our dress and all those things. But the most important thing, when the breath is not there, people, it's a dead body. So the breath is the most important connection. I will give you an example that, we watch many videos and all those things that we do, it definitely helps us. But I used to ask this question, that why it is not, why I'm not being able to execute in my life. Then I discovered this breathing stuff, that the breath and mind is connected. As you can see that when we're happy, isn't it, when we are happy, the breath is deeper and calmer, and when we are angry, it's very fast.
Mhm.
The breath and mind are connected. So don't you think that if you work on your breath, you can change the state of your mind?
Mhm. I
So
tell that to
definitely.
my kids a lot. I say, just breathe, hold on a second, just take some breaths, and then we can have the discussion. Because it's when they get very riled up, or I call it going to crazy town. It's that like everything is very quick. So it is just coming back down, coming back to baseline with that breath. It's powerful.
Definitely, it is powerful. So tricking that mind, if you will say like that, because mind is, we can say it is like a crazy lion. The thoughts are always there, and all those things are there. You're unable to, you cannot control it. People say how to control the mind. You cannot control, you can regulate, you can channelize it. And the powerful technique is your breath, breathing.
Mm.
Because many a times we wake up one day and we feel like not doing anything, and many a days we feel like, oh, super enthusiastic, and then we blame ourselves, I'm like that. No, you are not like that, because the breathing pattern has changed. Why don't you consciously work on your breathing and take charge of your mind and your life? We say that
Mhm.
90% of toxins from our body goes away through our breath. And
Wow.
because of our faulty lifestyle, kind of habits that we have, and the kind of environment that we are having, and the kind of food that we eat, we have reduced our lung capacity. And
Mm.
because of that, our each and every cell is suffering. There's not sufficient oxygen and prana and energy, and because of that we are suffering from different forms of physical and mental illnesses. And
Mhm.
when there is some form of illness in our body, how can we talk about purpose? Our whole attention will be towards our body. So
Mhm.
at the first level, when we practice all those things at level of the breathing and meditation, it clears down all those things. And
Mhm.
when we then align and we be established in ourself, then that conscious questioning and that silence, because what meditation does, now we are discussing all those things and you can hear us, because there is some form of silence over there, and there here is also silence. So in the same way, we all have some inner voice. I can share some example that when
Mhm.
there is some work which you want to do, which is not good for you, so there is a voice inside you which says, "Don't do it. It's not good for you." But there's one more voice: "Do it. It's okay. Do it. It's okay." But there is some voice which is stopping you. Don't do it, man. Every single time, what is that voice? And when we'll start following that voice, that inner voice which is there inside you, but what happens, we repeatedly is like, I will neglect it, I will do whatever my senses
Mhm.
are saying, or whatever that is coming from the outside world, I will do that. So after some time it start getting buried down. But when we meditate, we are connecting again with that self, how we are bathing every single day. So it is a mental hygiene. When we brush our teeth every day, isn't it, that is
Mhm.
dental hygiene. So when we
Mhm.
meditate, is mental hygiene, clearing all those impressions from the outside world, so that we can connect with our inner self, and from there we can realize that, what is that work that I'm here for. Because every single moment is new, every single second, and our breath brings us back to this moment. Because
Mm.
the suffering is there in the when the mind is in the past and the future.
Mhm.
But only when you are present, there is no suffering. And it's so simple, because every single moment is going to come in the form of present. And
Mhm.
now there is no problem. There is nothing like that. If you just be present, the things will spontaneously come through you. And you have been handling many stuffs very nicely, which we were anxious about, which we were worried about, but things are making sense, isn't it? So that
Mhm.
yoga is a practice of coming back into this moment, coming back to this present moment, being in this now, realizing the power of this present moment. And the more present we are, the more we will not identify ourselves with the more this anxiousness or fear or worry.
Mm.
It's only associated with the past and the future. So it really brings us back into this moment, and the mind is empty kind of stuff, so that we receive direct guidance from the universe there, not from the outside external noises. Yes.
So let me ask you this question then. So for someone who maybe doesn't have a practice at all, they're like hearing this and maybe for the first time, or maybe they've heard about meditation, heard about yoga, kind of
Hmm.
think, yeah, maybe I should start looking into that. Maybe there is something to this tradition that's been around for probably thousands of years, if not forever. Where would someone start? What would you recommend for someone who's just beginning on this journey?
Hmm. So from where I started is that there's my guru. Many of you must be knowing that it is Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji. So I learned from him the power of breathing. That is a Sudarshan Kriya. It is a very powerful breathing technique.
Mm.
So when I learned this and when I practiced all those things, so it really helped me. And from there, my journey started of going deeper into the breathing, the mindset, and the purpose, and all those things. So I will highly recommend, because that practice did changed my life.
And what
So
what is that practice then, or where would someone find it? I mean, is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Is it, what does it look like?
yes, it is 20 to 30 minutes practice, and it is art of living practice, art of living organization is there by Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji, and it is being taught by the trainers of the art of living teachers, and they teach that Sudarshan Kriya technique, sky technique, and there are many researches around that, and in many different universities like Harvard and all those things, it is compulsory to learn and practice it. So it did change my life, and anybody want to tap into this power of breathing and experience that, so it is highly recommended, because that did change my life.
Mm, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's go back to talking about this purpose and figuring out your purpose within. You become more grounded, more centered. You have this breathing practice. You're able to kind of keep yourself from ruminating past or future. You're very much in the present moment. What does it look like or feel like when that divine inspiration comes in and you're like, oh yes, that, there it is, there's my purpose? What was that like for you, and how do other people find that if they've done all this other work?
Hmm. So that state is beautiful, because I have gone through the previous state also, where every day I used to question myself that why I'm doing this. When I'm going to bed at night, I'm feeling very empty. I don't want to wake up even in the morning. But after realization, when you will know what is that work that you are here for, you don't have to think that, this is my work or something like that. You are in that state. You do not differentiate between the work and the pleasure and all those things. Your work becomes your pleasure, and you feel excited every single day to wake up. Even many a times I experience that while sleeping, I want to just, like, I'm excited to wake up, like I want to work and I want to bring in those things and I want to create that. And even while sleeping, I have that state of fulfillment that I really believe that life is very impermanent. We have no idea that tomorrow will be here or not. Even just after this section, we have no idea about that,
Mhm.
whether we accept it or not, because that's the truth of life. All across the globe, according to some report, there are 6.9 lakh people every single day. They are going to sleep and they will not wake up tomorrow. And they have no idea about it right now. So that's happening. So when I'm sleeping at night and I'm like, I'm fulfilled. I was I'm done with whatever I wanted to do for today. And if today is the last day of my life, I will leave the planet with the grace that yes, I'm done with whatever I can, and with no regrets. So that's the thing, that you don't have any regrets, because if
Mhm.
you have regrets, that means you have fear. If you have fear, you have not known your purpose, because if there is fear, there is no purpose. So
Mm.
that's the thing.
Can we touch on suffering and what do you think suffering is? Where do you think it comes from?
Hmm. Suffering once again comes from the state of, duality. When we have too much of, this is me and this is see, me and mine, this is my room and my stuff. So when there is a concept of I-ness, strong identification with this body. So if that's me, everything belongs to me, whatever it's that. But if you will try to take that away from me, you are my enemy, I'll fight with you. But and you are identifying yourself with that body and all the stuff that it's there and all the relationships that you have. And if someone will harm it, or because it's the nature of life, things will be taken away from you and things will change. So you are identifying, you are becoming that which you are not, you will suffer. Because it's that is the basis I shared with you. The
Mhm.
basis is just, the realization that I'm this body. But the moment you realize that no, I'm not this body, it's just an instrument to function for some time. The realization of death, what I say is that when you realize that this is not my place, I don't belong to this planet, I'm just here for some time. And I really believe that, my hope is somewhere up there towards the divine creator, and I will do. Yeah. So when we go somewhere to some place, how we be in a calm and nice state, and we don't attach ourselves too much with the things over here, because we have to leave. How we go
Mhm.
in a train or a bus or a flight or whatever, we know that we'll stop at our place. So we don't put much attachment association. We calmly with people, and then we leave at our stop or whatever. So when we will deeply realize this, that will be the end of suffering, and the identification with this body will cause the suffering.
So do you think that you have transcended that suffering? Do you still ever get sad or get in those little slumps? I call it slumpy. It's not really a word, but it's just kind of like, oh, do you ever feel that way anymore? Do you feel like you just move through it very quickly now? Or how is it different for you now? Or have you completely transcended it with this practice? What does it look like
Yes.
today for you when something comes in, like, let's say some really hard news, something about a family
Hmm.
member or just anything that would be viewed as
Yeah.
disappointing, or, from how you would do it differently now versus back then?
Yes. So I have observed a pattern that earlier, because I believe that I'm evolving every single day, and I cannot say that I'm in a state where I've transcended. Definitely not. But that gap, that moment, I'm angry at something,
Mhm.
but coming back to this moment, and if it is forgiving people, and if that is, you're shouting, and then you are just present, and why I'm doing this, and then you just go and say sorry to that person, because that awareness is coming back. I'm angry for maybe 10 seconds. It was
Yes.
earlier few days and hours and all those things, and for some minute. So that awareness is increasing, and now we can clearly see, because earlier I was not even aware that I have those tendencies, but I can see them many a times. We see that, but still we do it. But again, with the awareness, we do not try to repeat that pattern, and we are breaking consciously that pattern, and that time gap is decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very powerful for me.
I
You know,
love that. That's exactly how I feel about things. And so then I always wonder, like, does that mean something really bad's going to happen just to test me to see if I've really, because where I would sit with something for a really long period of time, like I'd be mad at someone or myself or whatever. I just feel like that time has gotten shorter and shorter to where I just go like, okay, it is what it is and it's fine. And what can I learn from, I start analyzing it. What can I learn from this? How can I evolve through this? And I just, it's shorter, but then I always get nervous, like something big's going to happen. It's going to be like, Eva, have you really figured this out? So there's that. But then that's just a worry, right? Isn't that what that's that whole thing I'm trying to not do, is worrying about the future, like you said.
Right, 100%. Yes.
Yeah, like, okay, this has been so fantastic. What final thoughts do you want to leave with people? Anything that is on your heart or on your mind around this subject that you'd want to leave with our audience today? And then also let people know where they can find you.
Yes, 100%. So there are a few messages which I want to share with the world is that just realize this, that you are here for a bigger purpose and you are not alone. Whenever you feel that you are alone, just realize that you are not. It's an illusion. There's a power with you which is guiding you every single day. Just believe in that. And also realize that you are not here forever. You are not here forever. And so put every single moment that you have on this planet towards finding your purpose and living every single moment to the fullest, and to not be fearful about anything. If anything comes in or anything in your heart, if it's right for you, if you think, just do it. And you are being taken care of. There's a power with you. There's nothing to be worried about. And you can find me on the Instagram @Pragya Pathak /.world. And I share about yoga, meditation, about finding the purpose and all those things. So yes, and I'm thankful to you. Thank you so much for inviting me and providing this opportunity. And I really admire your content and every single thing. And yeah,
Oh,
I'm really
thank you so much. I really appreciate. I love meeting people online. It's so fun how we just have, there's so many like minds and so many people that are really in that pursuit of service. I mean, that's what at the end of the day, I really feel like you said even before, that our purpose ultimately is to serve and realize that we are all connected and we're all
Yes.
one. And when we can bring everyone up, to that awareness, then we'll have a world that's just more peaceful, more loving, where the pain won't hurt as bad and we won't be stuck in those sad places for too long. And that's really my goal. So thank you so much for doing this work on the other side of the world and for sharing it with people over here. I really appreciate you. I did put your LinkedIn link in the description box. And so there's a whole bunch of ways that people can connect with you there. Thank you, Pragya, so much for being on this show. I hope you'll come back and please continue in your pursuit, because it is so, so important.
100%. I will keep on continuing, and I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Thanks everyone so much for being here on Set to Love today. What an awesome, awesome guest. And I cannot wait next Monday to bring you another amazing human to share some beautiful wisdom with you on how you can stay set to love so that you can flow for life. Have a great day, everyone.